The meaning of the Chongury. By Econ. Original wrote on November 8, 2005. Added on May 9, 22 hours 28 minutes and 4 seconds, 2006. Translated on April 11th 2 hours 3 minutes and 45 seconds 12 hours 34 minutes and 52 seconds, 2021. Econ Notes, a preliminary work of historical geography. In pre-Qin period, the Chongury is not China and Chonhua and was the direct state under the management, jurisdiction, of Worldfield, which is similar the meaning of capital. Therefore, the pre-Qin period of Chonhua covers the whole world, global, not the reachable by the current territory. Don't underestimate the mindset and traffic abilities of the ancients. The Chongury means central capital in Old Hun, usually Han, language, usually Old Chinese language, and ancient paleography, the ancestral script and oracle bone script of the Guri, super country, or its brotherly, placental, script of the country is realm, usually area, then the Chongury was also central area. Prince South Hui, central Huan Dei, usually center was Yellow Emperor, the central, was the capital by the old Ds, ancient emperors, in Middle Earth, central area. Even the territory was reduced more after Qin, still took royalty, and Xing'an, as the capital, which located in Central Earth, the capital in the center of a country. The Hoa Sia was no borders in ancient times, which meant the world, under heaven, there were not limited in national borders, boundaries, of the Hoa Sia in pre-Qin thus sects, of the antediluvian times, and called the under heaven. The realm were largest science the Huan Dei to the Sia dynasty, then the Chongury, the capital, was in Africa, and the Guri called Hojia, that ancient pronounce as Egypt, and the regime governed 9 continents and 10,000 countries all over the world. Historical records 5Ds in Baingist, book archives, stated that when the Yellow Emperor, the left and right prisons were placed under the supervision of all nations. Historical records, 5Ds in Baingist said that set grade inspectors in left and right, for inspectorate every countries. Historical records, comments of the SIA Baingist said, the Ryu used country as surnames, good all Sia Horus, Al Hut, Al Nums, Jin Sims, Tone Counds, Wa, Fast, Chest, Cones, Thins, Mines, Jin Jest, Dot. Jir Trent, Pity Count 7th years, recorded, Ryu Kone thus heroes in Dog Mountain, grabbed rubles, jade belt, for every countries. The notes of Shon Ethos said, the gown, and tint were called the Hoa, and Great Guri was called the Sia. Hoa Sia was so called the Chongury yet. Refer my clumsy words the name origin of Hoa Sia. Hojia was the ethnic concept, as the anthropological concept, and the concept of Chongury had nothing with the ethnicity. The concept of Chongury is cultural and geographical. Who was strong? Who was Chongury? If Skeru was better than Huan Dei, then the Skeru was, in, Chongury. If Komkan was better than Huan Dei, Komkan was Chongury. Which race occupies the central area? He was Chongury. The Indian had no ability to occupy the central area, so he was not Chongury, which later is called India. The Skeru had no ability to occupy the central area, so he was not Chongury, and he was called Briti, sh, in ancient times, The Konkan had no ability to occupy the central area, so he was not Chongury. He was the Western Queen race ancestor, later called Europa, Europe. North Korea and Japan had no ability to occupy the central area, so he was not Chongury, but Austria, Australia, later called Dun East. After Siag, many realms had rebelled independently and frequently. Jews go out of Egypt. Shoan race were strong. The Americas were far away due to the Pacific changed, and the Europe, Almira, had rejected the control gradually. Later, although Shoan Tom conquered some independent areas, but only regained more than 1,000 countries. In the early times of Shoan race, Econ think the Sumerian or Assyrian, thus before Pangen, they roved and migrated frequently. Later the Pangen settled down in Western Asia and ruled now China and other places. And part of the original Xian nobles stayed in Africa and Egypt, and other part of them fled and dispersed in the legendary northern. Thus, since the North Egypt of Africa, through now Western Asia, transferred to Northern Europe and even Siberia, by estimated, then they formed predecessors of Thorner, usually Huns, Turks, and Celebes, an ancient pronounce of Siberian. The world regimes and territories are very unstable. As the inference of three kingdoms said, the things under heaven, be divided by combined long, and be combined by divided long, in addition for it, easy to divide it, and difficult to comb it. Therefore, when we studying the ancient history and ethnicity, we never mark boat and seek sword, but need comprehensive considerations and assumptions based on global history. Thanks. Contact Econ, GENEOLOGY @hotmail.com.